Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Back in the hot seat.
Back in the hot seat. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day.
Good day.
You know what's a good day?
What is a good day?
Any day that our friends in real estate are out helping people buy homes.
Yep.
Or sitting down with potential sellers and talking to them about selling their home.
Okay.
That's a good day.
It's a great day.
That's a great day. And I want to talk about those great days today.
Okay, let's do it.
I want to talk about what it is that a real estate agent does for home buyers and home sellers and why, in my opinion, you need a realtor.
I hear that a lot nowadays.
Yeah, you do need a realtor. Now, full disclosure, if you tune into this show enough, you'll know this about me. I am not a do-it-yourselfer in general, unless it's something you really enjoy doing. I enjoy doing the yard. You enjoy doing the yard.
Yep.
Therefore, we do it yourself when it comes to yard work.
Yep.
But anything else, I'm a big fan of hiring someone to do what they do well, and you stay in your lane and hire someone to stay in their lane.
Correct.
Okay. And unfortunately, too many people who just don't know. Therefore, through ignorance, you make bad decisions.
Yep.
Well, let's use this platform yet again to educate and hope that people can digest what we spit and make more well-informed decisions.
That sounds like a great idea.
So, for the past 20 plus years,
Yep.
and that's basically my adult life, right? I've been an adult.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah. I've been an adult for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. I turned 42 later this month. And that means 20 years ago, I was a college senior. So, yeah, kind of adulting, but not really.
Yeah.
But for the past 20 years since I've been an adult, I've heard people like, oh, I don't want to hire a realtor. They're expensive. I want to save my money.
Yeah, I could do it myself.
I can do it myself. Okay, so now you're walking down that path of do it yourself.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right? It'd be a short little episode, but let's dive deep into it. We'll start with home buyers.
Okay.
Okay, when you're buying a house, I have never, ever, ever, ever once come up with a solution where doing it yourself made sense. Maybe one, and I'll share that with you.
Okay.
Now, selling a home, when we get into do-it-yourself as a seller, I can make some arguments.
Okay.
I really can.
Okay.
Now, our friends in real estate may or may not appreciate that I'm going to lay that out, but we're not necessarily trying to make friends as much as we are trying to inform.
For sure.
And I'm going on record saying, use a realtor to buy a house, use a realtor to sell a house. Like
Use a realtor.
on the record.
Use
Okay. So, the one and only time someone may want to not use a realtor would be if I'm buying your house from you and you're buying my house from me. We're friends. We don't really need a realtor.
Gotcha.
Right? We can find a way to protect you, I protect me, whether it is we choose to utilize a real estate attorney, have that real estate attorney help us draft the contract and almost like mediate a purchase and a sale. Maybe you and I decide on the purchase price by on our own going out and paying for a third-party independent valuation or an appraiser to come out to view the property and tell us what the home is worth, at which point we have an idea. That way I know that I'm not overpaying for your house and you're not underselling the home.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I could see where, okay, yes, why would you need to incorporate a real estate agent? Because that home doesn't need to be marketed. Therefore, you don't need one. Some people would make the argument that they don't need a realtor in order to go buy new construction. And I could see their angle, but I would tell you, nah,
So
not
hold on.
worth it.
So especially in Florida, because there's a new subdivision going up. Looks great. Come on in, and you can go into the model home. You can talk to someone like the builder, and you go right there. If you kind of see the model you want, you see the neighborhood you want. Would you need a realtor at that point if you could just kind of do it all there?
So you don't necessarily need one, right? And this is where it's more of the gray area.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you this: you're not going to get the home any cheaper,
Yeah.
by not using a realtor.
Yeah.
Right. So the builder has already priced in the realtor's commission into that sales price. Therefore, when you go in there, unless you're super savvy and you have figured out a way to negotiate a sales price as if there was a realtor representing you, and then you ask them, hey, by the way, what is your realtor co-broke? The co-broker is what's the commission you pay to realtors. Be like, perfect. I want you to either decrease that from my sales price or give me that much money and free upgrades or give me that much money to go towards my closing cost. Very few people know to do that. They just walk in willy-nilly and they buy the home, they pay the price, at which point now like you're doing this not represented. And you don't have someone who's an advocate for you to answer your questions. You don't have someone who's an advocate for you that if and when things start to go a little sideways or a little wonky, you have a professional whose job is it to be on your side.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do it yourself, at which point now when things go sideways, that you have to stop what you're doing in your normal everyday life and start handling and tackling all issues. Whereas if you had a professional real estate agent in your corner, that person could be running lead and you just assisting where they needed you to assist when and if things went sideways.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, yes, I could see where someone's like, well, new construction, I don't need a realtor as much. But I'm like, but why would you not? It's not like you're getting a better deal by not using a realtor. Other than that, when you're a home buyer, here's what you should know. You don't pay the realtor's commission. 99 times out of 100, I'm sure somewhere, some state, some municipality, some county, some region, they're like, well, in my region, we do things different. But the world that as I know it, 99% of the time, you're not paying a realtor when you're buying a home. The seller who listed the home has agreed to pay a set commission, whether that commission is 4%, 7%, 6%, that's regardless. They've agreed to pay that. At which point it's typically divided 50-50. 50% to the person who listed it, 50% to the realtor who brings a buyer. Well, when you're the buyer, you're technically not paying the realtor's commission. The seller is. And only when the home is sold. So your realtor has every incentive to make sure that they help keep your transaction together, that they advocate on your behalf in order to make sure that you close so they can get paid, but you're not the one paying them. So like, why? This is why I always pose a question to someone like, well, I'm not going to use a realtor. I'm going to save my money. Yeah. I'm like, but when you're buying a home, I don't know what you're going to pay the realtor. There's one fee. There's one fee that you may pay your realtor. You know what it is?
No.
It's a transaction fee. So a lot of these brokerages, whether it's a Keller Williams or a RE/MAX or an EXP, Century 21, et cetera, they may or may not have a transaction fee. The transaction fee is a fee that is imposed by the brokerage to the realtors. The realtors typically pass it on to the home buyer.
Gotcha.
Okay. So your agent's with Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker charges a $295 transaction fee.
Just like
your realtor charges it to you. You pay it at closing, so only if you buy the home.
Okay.
Okay. You could end up paying that.
Ah.
Okay. Or you may not. Not every realtor, not every brokerage charges them. Maybe some realtors, they absorb it. Maybe you're buying in a sales price range or the commission's high enough where the realtor's like, you know what? You're buying a $500,000 home and I'm making 3% on this. I can go ahead and
waive the fee.
Yeah. Now, by the way, their brokerage still charges that to the realtor.
They'll just take the L up front and be like, whatever, I'll just pay.
Correct. So basically, it's the realtor doing a solid for their buyer, saying, I'm not going to pass this along. I'll absorb it. And by the way, if the commission, this is just food for thought, if the commission pays 2 or 2.5 or 3% to your agent, please note your agent doesn't see the full 2, 2.5, or 3. They work for a brokerage. The brokerage needs their cut as well. So typically your agent is going to get 70, 80, or 90% of that commission. And know this too, they only get paid when something actually closes. So sometimes people, and I was once this way before I was in the industry, look at how much commission a realtor makes.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
Whoa, oh my God. But keep in mind, they choose it that way. They say, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to do a great job for you, and I'm not going to take any payment. I'm going to work my tail off, nights, weekends, and only get paid when and if you actually buy something. They could charge an hourly rate and mandate and guarantee that they received compensation regardless if you bought or sold. But in order to protect you up front, They say, I'm willing to make a lot of money only when things close. And by the way, as a buyer, you're not even paying it. The seller's paying it.
Wow. I did not know that. Even as a, because going in, you would think like, oh, I want to save. I don't want to use a realtor. You just think like, oh, it'll save me $3,500, $4,000. Just that's ignorantly thinking like, oh, I can just do it myself. I watch a couple YouTube videos and I'm ready to go out there in the market.
Yeah, but no, you don't do this. You don't have access to the same tools that they do. You have similar tools you have access to. But you know what? Do you have access to a broker who has, by the way, realtors work for brokers, right? The broker of that particular office. Mm-hmm. But do you have access to the number of other professionals that they do? The minds?
No, but my buddy gave me his NMLS login so I could look at homes on the back end. But no, I don't have any.
Yeah, but like you don't have someone to turn to when and if something goes sideways. And that's a realtor's job. Things will go sideways. You want them there. Better yet, like when you're negotiating, do you have someone who sets proper expectations for you? And the answer is probably no. Like if you go in unrepresented, you may end up signing a contract where, let's say here in Central Florida, you agreed to pay for the owner's title insurance and the Florida document stamps and the deed. Oh, yeah, sure.
So a realtor like that, not only do they help you find the house, they help you with the logistics of the paperwork. Is it their job to like look through everything and make sure, hey, this doesn't make sense right here?
They write the contract for you. Oh. Yes, they walk you through step by step. They make sure that your home inspection is done on time, your appraisal is done on time, that you have completed your loan application on time. They follow up with your lender to make sure your lender contractually isn't doing something that's going to jeopardize you buying this home.
And if you did it on your own, you'd have to do this all yourself while like...
You'd have to monitor it. And how much experience do you have buying a house? Let me tell you, I bought 2 homes in my lifetime. 2.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any experience buying a house. My last home purchase experience was 9 years ago. So, like, what makes someone think that... I mean, even if your realtor only sells 12 homes a year, they're still doing it once a month.
Yeah.
You're doing it once every 7 to 9 years, you know?
Things can change, I would assume, in between that.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on. Everything from doing a final walkthrough. Do you know you're supposed to do a final walkthrough? Do you know when you're supposed to do, it's like, do you know your rights versus the seller's rights? And if you don't have your home inspection done by a certain time period and you get your home inspection done late, the seller might be able to tell you, sorry, John, I don't care what you want me to fix. You didn't have your inspection done. If the appraisal's not done in a timely manner, if the loan commitment's not back in a timely manner, the seller could keep your deposit and not sell you the home. It's like these are things that a realtor, let alone they help you negotiate, right? What happens when the appraisal comes in low? What if you need to dispute that appraisal?
Just YouTube, Google.
Yeah, no, that's when it's always baffled me. Look, if you're listening, if you're buying a home, use a realtor. Even if they charge a $495 transaction fee, just mandate that they're worth that extra $495, pay it, and use a realtor. I mean, there's so many things that are supposed to go sideways and supposed to go wrong because it's life, and that's what happens in life. Use a realtor.
Yeah. Seems like more could go wrong than could go right if you choose not to use one. Did I frame that properly? More could go wrong if you don't use one.
Yes. Look, something is going to go wrong. Are you prepared for it? Do you have the experience? Do you have the network? Do you have the circle of other professionals that you can turn to when something goes wrong and you don't know? Better yet, right now, it's a freaking seller's market. It is the seller's market. You have to get creative with your offers. Do you even know some tips and tricks on how to get creative with your offers?
Drop the price?
No, you would have to increase. If it's a seller's market and you're going in underrepresented or not represented, your only way to win this is by paying the most money. But if you're working with a seasoned, savvy sales agent who specializes in real estate, they may have some tips and tricks, some hacks up their sleeve that lets you actually beat out an offer that may be more money than yours, but because of your hack, your tip, or your trick, you were able to purchase the home that you wanted and you paid less for it because you were represented.
Blasphemy.
So now that $495 that you just paid in a transaction fee, if you A, won the house and B, paid $3,000 less than what someone else was willing to pay, that $495 paid for itself.
Yeah, it did.
So it's, and I'm not on this show going to talk about those tips and tricks. I know them. I see them.
Yeah.
I commend agents for their creativity, but it wouldn't be fair to them for me to tell all their secrets. If they want to come on the show and tell their secrets, by all means, hey, realtors, here's your invitation.
Yeah.
If you have some really cool tips and tricks that you use in today's market to help win offers for your buyers, because buyers, in today's market, a home goes on the market and you're one of 7 people, sometimes 17, who are looking at that home within the first 2 days and making an offer. You need to stand out. A lot of times, being represented and who you're represented by may be the reason why your offer gets seen and looked at by the sellers. So that's my pitch on why you should use a realtor when you buy a home, right? A, it doesn't really cost you any money. And B, it protects you. C, it could help you actually win the contract in a multiple offer situation, which we are in multiple offer situations on most homes. And it takes a big burden off of your plate. You have someone else there to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
No brainer. What are 2 times you would potentially not? Okay, in a for sale by owner situation. By for sale by owner, I mean John and I are friends. I want to buy John's house. John wants to buy my house.
That's it.
Not, oh, so-and-so's a DIYer himself and he's listing his home and I'm going to come in.
Yeah, nah.
No, if it's someone you know, I'm buying my dad's house,
Gotcha,
etc.
okay.
Or maybe, with a huge maybe, if you're buying new construction. But if you're not represented and you're representing yourself on new construction, understand that that home builder has already priced into their final price, typically needing to pay a realtor commission for bringing a buyer to them. If you're going in not represented, make sure, like damn well, that you're getting something in return. And even still, I wouldn't recommend it. Look, builder upgrades, they're
But they got crown molding. It looks great.
Yeah, there's many builder upgrades that I've been told. Look, I've never purchased new construction, but I've been told you can probably do cheaper on your own.
Really?
Yeah. Now, here's what you can't do on your own is finance it. Right? The one benefit when you're buying new construction is that it all gets rolled into your sales price, at which point you're financing 95 or 90 or 80% of. If you start doing all of these, cool floors and crown molding and upgraded appliances, etc., on your own, because it is cheaper to do it on your own, you better have the cash or the bankroll to pay for it all out of pocket, because it's very difficult or expensive to finance aftermarket versus.
Gotcha.
But that's a whole other show. That really is. That's like new construction 101.
Wow.
And I would have to bring on an expert. I'd have to kick you out of your seat or kick me out of my seat. And you interview an expert who sells new construction.
Yeah.
Who can teach us the ins and the outs.
Well, you put it out in the universe.
Let's put it out there. Hey, if you sell new construction and you're really good at it and you're really good on a microphone and you want to share some of the tips and tricks and do's and don'ts of buying new construction, we'd love to have you on.
By all means.
Yeah, by all means. All right, let's talk about home selling.
Okay. Because you said home sellers might be able to maybe get away with it.
Look, my realtor friends, please do not attack me for this.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go on record yet again.
Yet again.
Don't do it yourself. Okay. But I could see why. I could see why someone would be like, look, I'm looking around in my neighborhood and homes are going on the market, and within a weekend, 13 people have viewed them and they've had 7 offers.
Damn.
And they're going for top dollar. I don't need to pay someone 4, 5, 6, or 7% to list my home and do that for me. I could. I get where they're coming from. But at the same time, you're not paying for that initial market and that initial contract. You're paying for when things go sideways. When things go sideways, are you able to keep the transaction together? And B, are you still able to sell it for top dollar?
Can you speak on that a little bit? Like, how often do transactions in real estate go awry?
So I share with our loan officers here at Waterstone Mortgage. We have the careers we have, and we make the money we make because things go sideways. Realtors, same thing. They have the careers they have and they make the money they make because things go sideways. There's not a transaction that transpires, or very rarely, that something didn't go unexpectedly. Right? It's like you expect the unexpected. And it could be a multitude of things. It's everything from, there could be an open permit. Okay, an open permit means that the home that you are looking to buy, somewhere along the lines, someone had work done to the home, a permit was opened, and it hasn't been closed out.
I mean, the work hasn't been completed?
We don't know. We got to get to work. We got to get to work to figure that out. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you got to get to work.
Whoa.
To figure that out.
It seems like if you try to do it yourself and then you kind of went down this road, do you almost pay more in the end because you're scrambling? You need to hire all these people to help kind of backfill this?
I mean, I would tell you pay in the end because of the emotional toll it takes on you. Like, how much productivity did you miss out on during those 60 days, whether it's at your job, whether it's with your family, with your friends, trips you didn't take. I mean, there's definitely a toll that is taken. But look, if you're going to sell a home, do you know a good title company or a good real estate attorney? No, you don't.
No.
Most people don't. You know who does? A good realtor does. So all of a sudden, better yet, do you know how to vet the lender of the person who is buying your home to make sure that it's a legit offer? Or are you going to accept an offer and 45 days later have it not close, and now you have to put the home back on the market, go back through the process?
Whoa, that happens?
Yes, that happens. You know what a good realtor can do that lists your home? They can make sure they properly vet all offers who are coming in. Like, do you know if you accepted a certain type of offer that was using a certain type of county provided down payment assistance, you basically just agreed to a 90-day closing?
No, I did not know that.
No, you wouldn't know that either. It's not your job to know that, right? If your job is an engineer at Lockheed Martin, you need to be a great engineer for Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Your job is not to know that if you accepted a certain offer where the buyer was receiving down payment assistance from a certain county, it's a 90-day close. All you need to know going into it is, are you cool with a 90-day close? Do you know what that means, right? It's another 2 months of mortgage payments, another 2 months of yard service, and 2 months of utilities, and 2 months of pool service. Another 2 months that something could break in your house, right? I mean, who was anticipating having a hurricane in the state of Florida in the month of November, but we just saw one? What if you now have roof damage and that roof? I mean, it's like there's so many things that are going to go into this. Open permits, we just talked about, but properly vetting all offers that are coming in. What happens when you have a low appraisal? Do you know how to dispute a low appraisal as the seller?
Yeah, I just call the people and like, why'd you say my house wasn't worth what I think it's worth?
Yeah, no, you're going to have to pull comparable sales. You're going to have to make arguments. You're going to have to be able to, read the appraisal, look at the adjustments. Do you know John Coleman, do you know how much an appraiser typically gives to a home that has a pool in terms of additional value versus a home that does not have a pool?
$20,000.
You're guessing.
Yes.
Okay, your life's on the line. You want to stick to that answer?
Well, pools are.
You want to phone a friend?
Yeah. But I'm doing this on my own, so let me just figure this out. Pools usually cost like what, 40 to 45,000.
On the cheap end, 30. On the high end,
high end a lot.
But let's say your standard pool.
Standard pool.
Yeah, on the cheap end, 30, and the high end.
So
60.
then this would
30
really,
to 60.
30 to 60. This would be literally my thought process. All right, it's worth that. Give me half. I have nothing to base it on. I'm just saying, give me half.
That's a good guess. It's a good guess. About $15,000. Yeah. So you and I had the same exact pool, same exact home in the same exact neighborhood. You have a pool and I don't. Your home is worth an extra $15,000 than mine.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. But if you're selling your house, you remember 6 years ago you paid that pool company $43,000 to come dig a hole in your yard and build your pool.
Yeah.
Do you know that when you have a low appraisal, do you know even where to look on the appraisal? The answer is you probably don't.
Hell no.
Yeah, you probably don't. Just like you didn't know where to turn to actually have someone close your home on your behalf, because you need a title company or a real estate attorney. Someone's going to have to do a title search, a title exam, issue title insurance. Do you know that typically at least in our market, but in other markets, do you know what a typical seller cost is versus a non-typical seller cost? Do you know how much time you should typically give the home buyer to have their inspection done? And then when they have the inspection, do you know what type of negotiations, and are you ready to handle the negotiations of the back and forth after the buyer had the home inspection?
I feel like I'm back at UT and I didn't read last night's chapter and the professor's just wailing me with shit. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, like the answer is no. Like, yes, in today's market, I can see where a home seller is like, look, these homes are selling themselves. I don't need a realtor. Maybe you do. Yes, homes are selling themselves for the most part, but you're not necessarily hiring the realtor to market the house for you. Now you are, by the way, you are. If I'm not using the multiple listing service to market my home, I have drastically reduced the buyer pool. So automatically, by utilizing a real estate professional who has access for me to put my home in the MLS, now I have opened myself up to the largest buyer pool. The largest buyer pool will allow me to get the most bids. Maybe my home can get bid up, and maybe it gets bid up by someone who's paying cash. By the way, when someone's paying cash, things like appraisals and home inspections and financing contingencies become less prevalent. But if I'm trying to do it myself and my home's not going in the multiple listing service and I'm just going to put it online.
I'm going to put a sign in my yard.
I'm going to put a sign in my yard. Then I'm going to miss out on all of that. And better yet, what if I end up selling my home for appraised value, but my realtor could have sold my home for $15,000 over appraised value?
That's when I would be kicking myself.
Yeah, but you don't know that. Your goal with anything in life, especially when you're hiring a real estate agent, is that you get your money's worth without the headache. Meaning, if I had to pay a realtor $15,000 to list and sell my home, but the realtor helped me sell the home for $15,000 more than I would have on my own.
Duh.
Okay, so that washed itself out, but now I had someone else doing all the heavy lifting.
It's the peace of mind.
Yes, the peace of mind. And maybe because homes are selling so quickly, maybe you choose a different type of real estate service, right? Because there's different types, just like in life, right? There's if I'm having wood floors put in, there's some people who would do it cheaper if I go out and buy all the material myself.
Yeah.
And they just provide labor. Mm-hmm. Right? There's some people, just different business models.
Yeah.
There's discount everything. Right?
Yeah.
Now, with discount, you may also be getting discounted services, which means that you're not mitigating your risk as much. But I think you should use a real estate agent and a realtor when you're listing your home.
You convinced me.
I mean, it just makes sense.
It's just, yeah. I mean, after everything you laid out, like, is it worth saving an imaginary amount of money that you just place in your head just because it's like $3,500? I can save.
And then because I know this episode is going to have shelf life. Just because we're in a seller's market the past 3 years and we're in one right now and we're going to be one in next year, that doesn't mean we're going to be one in 2025. That's when you have to have. It's not even like and at what level, you know? Like I'm telling you on the show, I think you always need to have a real estate agent list your home. But there's definitely varying levels that you may want to consider. You may want to consider, I'm willing to do more heavy lifting. I want to use a discount brokerage. Or I'm willing to take more risk because of the market. It's a calculated risk, but I'm willing to take a risk. I'm going to use a discount broker. Or you may be like, no, I'm paying my 5 or my 6 or my 7% realtor commission because I want it done. I want it done right. I want to be left alone.
Yeah.
And I want to know that when and if things go sideways, I have the best person with the best team who is fully equipped to navigate this for me. In 5 years, when the market is more of an even market, meaning it's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market, that is when a realtor is worth their weight in gold. Because that is where, you could, if you do it yourself, end up selling your home for 5 or 6% less than if you used a real estate agent.
Damn.
Like that's when it really comes into play. Because look, there's avenues out there that you could list your home yourself and still market it to the real estate community that, hey, John, if you bring a buyer to me, I'll still pay you a 2 or 3% commission. Like you could do that, but you're still unrepresented. You're still representing yourself. So now you just invited a buyer in who has a professional working on their behalf.
And then you just got you representing yourself.
And you're representing you. Well, who knows more about real estate? More than likely that buyer's agent does. So now, what are you really saving? You're saving 2 or 2.5 or 3% of your sales price. Is what you're saving in order to do it yourself, right? It would be like me fighting Conor McGregor, and I have never once boxed or kickboxed. I'm like, yeah, but I'm strong and I'm tough.
I can do this.
Yeah, I'm bigger than he is. I am bigger than he is. But he would whip my butt. He is trained.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't want to go, anytime in life. When would you want to compete against someone who is trained and experienced versus someone who's not?
Well, when you put it that way, Dustin.
Yeah. So at a minimum, how about this? Let's agree on this. Before you were to ever buy or sell a home on your own, interview a couple realtors. Reach out to your friends and family. Call the people at the Loan Officer Podcast. Ask us, hey, who would you recommend?
I bet you know a couple.
I bet we know a couple. How about this? We know thousands of realtors just in the Florida market, right? Of those thousands, a couple hundred are really, really good at what they do.
I would think so.
Really, really good. Okay? And our network expands from Spokane to Key West and everywhere in between. We're a one phone call, one text message, or one email away from being able to provide you with 2 or 3 names of people who have been vetted by our network, and at a minimum, sit down with them. It's at least worth 30 to 60 minutes of your time to make the decision that, yes, this is a DIY situation, or hell to the no, it's not. I'm so glad I tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast, and they taught me why I should or should not hire a professional real estate agent to help me buy or sell a home.
Got me sold.
Beautiful. On that note, John Coleman, let's let our fine viewers get on with their day.
Yes, sir.
If you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to sell a house and you don't know where to start, give me a call. Yeah. I'd be more than happy to spend 5-10 minutes pointing you in the right direction. I'm not a licensed real estate agent, never have been, never want to be, but I know a lot of them.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of them, and I kind of know a little bit about what you're looking to accomplish. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, we can get you pointed in the right direction, answer some of your questions. And if you still aren't convinced not to do it yourself, at a minimum, make the phone call, have an interview, and figure out for yourself whether or not a professional real estate agent is good for you. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. You have tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. If you need to reach me, 407-645-6363. You can find him on our Instagram page at the Loan Officer Podcast, YouTube channel, the Loan Officer Podcast, and Facebook, the Loan Officer Podcast. And if all else fails, there's only 17,335 John Colemans in the United States of America, but Google them. You never know what you might find out. But we're done. That's the show. Peace.
Deuces.